All right, welcome back. We're at pick 6 of 9 from the Barnes University draft class. What is University draft class? That is just simply me and who I would have selected with the allotted picks that the Tennessee Titans had. So, quick breakdown of who I am. I like to do this with these videos now, just in case this is your first time finding me. I'm Charles Barnes. I'm a PFF data analyst certified. Have history in collegiate front offices, helping with recruiting, some coaching, and what I do in this space in terms of scouting over the last decade. I've been able to triple the accuracy of most GMs because if you look back at most drafts, GMs about one hit per 7 selections. I've been able to triple that with three. And I've made some agents very wealthy because of some of the players that I've mentioned and put in their ear. But anyway, why do I mention this? For one, this is a live video, and the longer you wait to get people involved or watching, the better. And over the years, I've always been combated with credibility. So, um, but they combat it with credibility. They want more credibility. Then when I share the truth, I'm all of a sudden the villain. But anyway, I do this the superficial practice because apparently people want social proof. But if it was up to me, it'd just be about the evaluation. But let's get down to the pick. A lot of people have been talking about this pick, and this isn't just a Nashville market centric player. This is a player that was talked about multiple times during the draft class, um, and a player that definitely should have been drafted. If you don't know by now, the player is indeed wide receiver Xavier Restrepo, and that's who I would have selected with pick 136 overall, 5'10 ish, 200 pounds, out of Miami. So, to preface this selection with the comments that I've been hearing in this market specifically, he's shaped like a running back. Um, he isn't fast enough. Um, really, those two things. And then the value that the Titans got him as an undrafted free agent. So I would have to say about the size proponent about Restrepo is that yes, that's what's good about the human species. You might not can get taller, but you definitely can gain weight. You can, lose weight. You can change these things. So I will have to agree. I will have to say that his playing weight probably needs to be sub 200, 195 ish. Allow room to grow there. Just helps his flow, helps his flexibility. Now, in terms of speed, when you put him in a proverbial box and only tell me or share with the public one aspect of his speed or his quickness, which is the 40, which I don't even know if these reports are true, said he was injured or whatever. He was not feeling his best that day for the 40. But besides that, as a professional that's on airwaves and stuff like that, why is the only proponent of speed the 40 to you? Why does tape not matter? Because on tape he's 4'5". He's legit. He's legit 4'5", mid 4'5s. Why aren't you mentioning things like the short shuttle? Why aren't you mentioning things like three cone? Because maybe that's only where your limited abilities go when it comes to speed. Because he was elite. He was a 4.21 second short shuttle runner. He was a 6.83 three cone runner. These are elite short area quickness measurements. What does that mean? How does that correlate? That means in a vacuum, good luck. In a phone booth, good luck trying to get your hands on and covering and tackling Xavier Restrepo. This is where he's elite. He has elite short area quickness. He's smart and hardworking. We want to talk about the intangibles that Cam Ward has. I would argue that, and I've watched the majority of these prospects, I would argue that him and Cam Ward are probably the two most football obsessed players in this draft. So keep that in mind. Intangibles, right? That's part of the evaluation, right? He's a better catcher of the football than many players that was drafted before him and after him. He has 9 career drops and six over the last 2 years. So three drops per year on mega targets, right? He's an absolute gamer. His role at the next level, I think he can be a punt returner. I think he can be a kick returner. He is slot only, and he can be the wide receiver 4 on a team or 5. His miles per hour that was tracked at the combine was faster than during the gauntlet drill, was faster than Chimere Dike, Tez Johnson, Isaiah Bond, Alec Ayumanner, Jalen Noel, Besh, Burden the third at 19.11, and then 20 miles per hour. I think they had him in game. He has excellent run block effort, and there was 9 or 10 wide receivers drafted after him. Of those 9 or 10, none of them are as refined. None of them have the college production. And that's outside of my guy, Torrey Horton. But the others, they're either undersized. The duo Webster and Horn Jr. was drafted. Prather was drafted. A guy from Montana State was drafted. None of them have the production or immediate role outside of Horton, in my opinion, that match Restrepo's resume. They don't match his intangibles. They don't match his short area quickness. They don't match his reliability with his hands. I mean, I don't. To me, this is not an overdraft. Now, for the Titans, sure, having that relationship with Cam Ward is excellent, and the opportunity cost obviously is in their advantage. Because the only other player I probably would have selected was Alec Ayumanner, because I had Restrepo at 10 in terms of receiver rankings, and then Ayumanner was at 11, and they could be interchangeable if you ask me. But so Titans still got a guy that I liked, but this is not an overdraft. Very easily could have been, I think Horton fell for whatever reason, and that's the only player that's drafted after this range that I think has legitimate shot at like being better. I mean, you might get those Colorado guys in a speed role, and you might see production there as well. But we're doing good, the bad, the ugly, right? So we're not just going to glaze the whole process, right? So here are some concerns. His deep target efficiency isn't there because of separation. So speed and separation on, corner routes, dig routes and verticals. You're not going to try to use him as a vertical threat. His catch radius, because of his length. He had a left foot injury in 2022. And then the concerns with his 40 or whatnot. He has to stay below 200 pounds. I would have definitely, I don't know his diet, I don't know his nutrition, but he needs to stay below 200 pounds unless he wants to be used as a running back, which is that's another thing as far as his utility, which I'm not opposed to. He has the reliability and the work ethic. So if he does get to 210 again or 215 again, why not use him as a Danny Woodhead, as a Rex Burkhead, if he's down for it? It's about trying to use what a player can do, as opposed to always trying to villainize or trying to justify your preconceived or your biases towards the draft process. He can play in this league. He has the mindset. He has the ability to play, whether that be a third down type of back role. You got to think about this from where do players attack in matchups and then areas of the field. Can he beat a linebacker? Sure. Can he beat a slow safety? Sure. Can he find voids in zones? Yes. Is he sure-handed? Yes. Does he have the mentality and work ethic to be the first one in and the last one out? Yes. I don't see the issue here. He has to mitigate risk when being targeted. And what I mean by that is I look back and I think, and this is the perfect segue to end this, and we're talking about NFL comp, something that I'm adding to these videos. He reminds me of Wes Welker. And I remember in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady trying to target Welker because you have to be pinpoint accurate a lot of times, especially over the head with players like Restrepo, because it can be passes can be tipped. There can be a lot of overthrows. So he has to mitigate the risk when being target where he doesn't, when he knows, and I talked about this in a random tweet um, on my X, where wide receivers have to be taught, and running backs, when you're running routes over the middle and like a pass is too high, sometimes you have to learn how to either let the pass go, and I know that's against your cognitive function, or when you cannot make the pass, if you cannot secure the pass, you need to bat the ball down because too many interceptions are happening off of tip passes. So that was my thought pattern. It just gave me a flashback to, Restrepo type of players. But here's the NFL comp for him. I've been doing this. What's the floor? What's the ceiling? What's the middle? I think, the floor for somebody like him is like a Cordero Hodge, or a little bit less than someone that is slower but has a thick build that could be an underneath guy and just play on special teams. I think that he can be a special teams guy. A lot of people talking about he doesn't have the speed. Okay, might not have the long speed, but he can definitely get some yards and be effective there. Um, and I think the middle ground for him may be like a Jarvis Landry type, depending on how you view Jarvis Landry and Wes Welker, right? In my opinion, if you think Wes Welker, which you can say had the better career, cool. But if you like the player and the play style of Jarvis Landry better, sure. I think they're very similar guys that had some lower athletic scores, but was able to carve out a role in this league. So yeah, I don't think this is a reach. I think it's right on par with value. I think me and the Titans shared. Well, Alec Ayomana is the only other player I would have selected here based off of my board. Restrepo was at 10, Ayomana was at 11, kind of interchangeable, but I had already gotten my bigger receiver that can play Z or X in Torrey Horton earlier for my specific draft. So I went with the slot guy that is a obsessed worker, and I think those intangibles are going to take him a long way.